Welcome to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. Whether inside or outside the loop, we are talking everything soccer in Houston. Y'all ready? Let's get it. Houston, welcome to another episode of the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. My name is Rudy Segura. I am not alone today, even though this is going to be a quiet week, I guess 10 days without Houston Dynamo soccer happening. But we'll recap everything that went down since we last recorded. And I am not alone. I am with Cristian Putalias. Brother, how you been?
¿Qué onda? What's good? Good, man. Everything good. We're chilling over here. Some good, some bad. But I think I guess if we're going to look at the whole month overall, I think better than bad.
So, how you been, man? So far, tell us a little bit about that. Well, I knocked something out here.
Good. Good. I went to Dallas this weekend, so I was in enemy territory for a little bit. My brother had, him and his wife are expecting a baby, so they had the baby shower and the whole thing. So we went over there for the weekend. Fun times. AC broke when we got there. It was like it's one of those things that you're like, But luckily for us, it wasn't too hot. They live in Denton, which is a little bit northern, Dallas. So it's not as hot as it is here, right? I think the most the guy was like 80, 85 or something like that outside. So as long as you were outside in the backyard, which we spent most of the day anyways, it was nice and breezy. We had big old fans and everything, so it wasn't as bad. And then on Sunday, we went to Princess Day at the Astros with my two daughters and the wife. So that was pretty fun. A lot of dresses, a lot of pink, a lot of tiaras, a lot of blush, and whatever all the little girls wear. So fun times in the sports, and fun times in the family gatherings as well. How about yourself? Anything you still done? You want me to keep talking? I'll keep talking.
You can keep talking a little more. As far as my weekend, it wasn't too crazy. Fortunately, I missed that game against Sporting Kansas City. I always tell my wife I had to babysit, and she's like, "They're your kids, bro. It's not babysitting if they're your kids." So I was being a dad, obviously, in the afternoon because she's always a very good sport and allows me to enjoy my hobby and cover the teams.
Yeah.
And she had scheduled girls' night out with some former co-workers, so I was like, you know what, I'll take one for the team. Go ahead and enjoy because your friends tend to, it's one of those that you have so many different people and it's hard to get together. There's always people canceling,
for sure.
And for the first time no one was canceling. I wasn't gonna make her cancel her plans, so I was smart enough not to do that. And then before that we went out as a family. It was funny, we were supposed to have like this big, I think it was my wife's idea too, which was a good idea, but she wanted to get all her family on her mom's side to take like family pictures, and it was really for her grandma because she's older. I think she's like the only grandma here, and she was no show. So it's one of those that everybody would they kind of knew that she probably wasn't gonna go, so we still took advantage of kind of taking family pictures with her mom, her parents, my wife's parents, and that side of the family and stuff. So it's interesting. But if you want anything else you want to add, let me see if we got one. Well, I guess I'll give it. Finally, we are bringing, and finally, because it's kind of my bad. I know that we've had so many games kind of happening at once, so it's kind of been difficult to keep up and make time for the show. Our favorite segment, really, the Elotes Bravos Fan Feud. So we got more donations from our community, and we'll be giving them out. If you guys, I'll do a good job of showing you what I have, but we are giving away a scarf. I was trying to think of what it's called. A Dynamo scarf. There's a She Shines T-shirt. We have
that's hard. She Shines
T-shirt. She does by the seashore. We have, which this one's mine, but we'll have this one too as part of the giveaway. One of those
skulls,
sugar skulls. bubble heads.
Are those made out of sugar? What is that sugar skull? I don't know. That's
Yeah, it
different.
really is actually.
Yeah.
They're not good to eat. I mean, I think if you eat it, your teeth just kind of like fall out. So I definitely don't recommend. I think I had one as a kid. They're more for decoration, kind of like what fondant or what is it? Yeah, fun. What not fun? It's it what they use on cakes. Kind of, you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about.
Whatever.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, it's French.
To make them look pretty, to make them look pretty. So we are joined by Wilmer. He's waiting for us. He can hear us. We can't hear him right now. And I was trying to see. Oh, there we go. I need Snoop. Okay, cool. Let me see. Where are you? Let me. I can't DM me. DM me. All right, DM me.
While you were doing that, I just want to read the comment by Dago. He says, "I was able to take my dad to a game finally. He had fun times, but he thinks the Dynamo sucks now." Bro, that is the story of the life of a young Dynamo fan that takes a friend, a family member. You know the typical, like, you take your I don't know, like a coworker to your family gathering, or like you're dating a girl or a guy or whatever, and you take them to your family and you're like, man, hopefully they're not weird. Or you take them to like a church service and you're like, man, hopefully the pastor doesn't say something weird. And they
always do. Yeah. They always do in those scenarios.
That's the Dynamo right there. Yeah. Anytime you take a friend, they can never win 4-0. They always lose. They always play terrible. And you're just sitting there trying to explain to them, but it's kind of like a rebuilding year. We've been good these past couple of years. We made it to the playoffs, and they're like, bro, just let me live with my Cruz Azul, who just won 5-0 in the Champions Cup, or let me just stay with my Toluca, who just beat America in the finals. And you're like, damn it, like, it's hard to convince these people.
Yeah, it really is. I've always say how they tend to drop it. Like, you think that, especially this season, about how inconsistent they've been. Whenever you think they should win, they will win. Yeah. They will finally get everybody excited as they keep getting, road wins, and they screw the pooch, literally. They just drop it. But we have Wilmer, we have Nesnoob joining. He'll be the one. He'll be taking on Edson Ochoa. It's in the background. He's running comments, polls. What else we got? We got the fan feud, I guess.
A comment for
there you
Edson.
Go. What's up, Edson?
Oh,
I love that jersey. Oh, look at that jersey. Come on. You got to do runway model here.
All right, real quick.
Bro, that 956 thing is beautiful.
Yeah. So it's really, 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 really nice. I like the way it came out.
Perfect sponsorship.
So just wanted to say hi to everybody. I know it's been a while since.
Yeah, go ahead and give us a recap of this game. This past.
Also, before you start the recap, a quick shout out to you and your homie. I forgot his name.
Oh, Jacob.
But Jacob is amazing at what he does, and you also did a great job at commentating.
Like, Edson, you sucked. You sucked.
No, but I was genuinely surprised of how good the Jacob is.
Yeah, so I mean, he's been doing it for high school stuff for like 6 years. So I was actually pretty nervous since it was actually my first time doing that, doing color commentary. But besides some internet issues we were having, I think it went along pretty well. So hopefully in 3 weeks, which is the next home game, things can be a little bit better. But I had a lot of fun. It was a really, really good game. San Antonio Corinthians is one of the top semi-pro teams in the U.S. So they came. I mean, they beat us 2-1, but honestly, it was one of those games where in the run of play, they had a hard time trying to break apart the Red Crown's defense. It was just, two set piece opportunities where they were able to capitalize, but it was an entertaining match, fun to call. And so hopefully we're seeing a lot more people going to the games as well. So here's hoping for a positive outcome. And by the way, yeah. So it is going to be, there is going to be some playoffs. The top 4 of the conference qualifies to playoffs to see who makes it to the interconference playoffs kind of thing.
Interesting.
So.
Yeah, I have been following the Instagram. They've been very active, and I like the little atmosphere. That state. It's in Harlingen. That stadium. It's
Yes.
in Harlingen. Okay. Yeah, the
Hmm.
atmosphere looks like people are getting into it, man. So that's good.
I just found out that one of my really good homies, I knew he was from the border region, but I told him, I was like, we were like not arguing, but we fight as friends fight,
Hmm.
and we were calling we calling each other names, and I was like, man, you call yourself American? I was like, you're from the border, you're barely American, right?
Wow.
I was like, you're from McAllen, and he was like, don't insult me, I'm from Harlingen. I was like, I didn't know.
It is. There is.
So
There.
I don't
There
know how
is.
I don't know how the story is over there, but he's for sure from Harlingen. And I told him, I was like, bro, there's a team down there. I was like, now you have to buy a jersey. He's like, oh dang, I'm gonna have to check it out. And I was like, you have to now.
Yeah. Not things are letting him know, but hopefully these things can continues to grow. Anyway, just want to drop by and say hi. I'll be in the back, so I'll be reading all of your comments and seeing what the feedback is so far for the Dynamo.
Yeah,
Have a
let's
good
do
show,
it.
guys.
We do have somebody for Wilmer. Man, two people. They're like, oh, I have kids running around. I don't want to do this. I think they're scared of Wilmer. But Wilmer, do you have anything you want to say, man? We will let you in here. I know you're kind of waiting in the background. How you been, man?
Oh, hi.
You did-
Thanks. I thought I had to put one on for the show. I didn't think there was another. Well, there's a couple other jerseys that I could have worn, but uh, just a little nervous. First time on camera for a podcast.
Yeah,
Nice
man,
to
get
be
in
part
here.
of a show that I usually like listen to at work all the time.
Hey, nice.
Hey, yeah, man. No, this is what we try to do, man. This is a I guess sort of a show by the fans for the fans. So we'd always love to include, everybody that apart from supporting us, supports the club team. So no, we're
Oh yeah.
excited, man. So all right, you're a Dynamo fan. How long you been a Dynamo fan, Wilmer?
So my family started taking me to games when I was like a kid. So around Robertson Stadium time, like '09 to all the way till the new stadium got opened. And after that, like I tapped out from like 2012 to like after I moved out from my parents. So around 2020 was when I started getting back into it. Around the not the greatest years to be a Dynamo fan, but I kind of stuck through it
That means you're a loyal
and been
person.
stuck.
Yeah. Huh?
Oh,
When you
yeah.
stick with a team that is not doing all that great, usually that's how it goes. But we are joined by
Hmm.
the guy you're gonna be facing on this fan feud. So if
Bow,
you
bow, bow,
watched this
bow.
episodes in the past,
Let's go.
um, and watch the fan feuds, basically, it's trivia questions. Chris will keep a record of them. Whoever gets,
Yep.
what's up, Batman? How you doing?
How you guys doing?
Not too
Oh,
bad. We
Batman, I'm
got
nervous now. I'm more nervous than I was before.
sure name yourself Robin, and maybe you had a chance. But yeah. So
Oh
we'll
no.
let me see. Here you go. We got the. If you guys are able to see this, we're good. I know
Yeah.
it's a big party. We may
Yeah.
start lagging some, but I I'll read the questions to you guys.
Oh no.
We'll show you. I don't know if you guys watched the
Cool.
last episode, but the first one was one that Christian Putalias answered. But that's basically the
I
setup.
can kind of see it.
Let's see if you can see it.
Mhm.
I'll repeat it. I'll give you. I'll read all the stuff for you guys. So, we'll read the question. We'll do the answers, and we'll finish off with whether you got it correct or not. Chris, well, we were doing a longer time
Mhm.
before, but now that it's multiple choice, just throw whatever you think it is, and we'll kind of go from there. Batman has actually, I think you joined us on the very first time we did it, man. How you been? How's
Yes, we
Gotham
did.
City at this point?
Let's go.
Gotham City I was safe because obviously I'm not out there.
Yeah, I was gonna say clearly not that great if the Dynamo were able to get some points out there. So,
I know. I know.
but all right, if you guys are ready, we'll get started. Wilmer got here first, so Wilmer, we'll get this question to you first, man. Coming up right here, and I'll read it. Let me
Cool. No
finish
pressure.
it. Yeah, no pressure. Let me finish reading it, and then you can go ahead and answer it, and we'll see if you got it correct or not. Who holds the
Gotcha.
record
Gotcha.
for the most goals scored for the Dynamo? A. Bruin, B. Ching, C. Manotas.
That would be Brian Ching.
Brian Ching is the answer. That is correct. That's
Ching
one
it is.
for Wilmer. Batman, I hope you're correct. You're
Let's go.
probably gonna get a Houston Dash one, just FYI, but it is multiple choice, so this
Oh
kind
my
of
gosh.
makes
A lot
it
easier.
even. A lot easier. What is the highest position the Dash have finished in the regular NWSL standings? A first, B third, C fourth. You can just
I'm gonna
throw
go
it out
with C4.
Should be
Ooh.
out there.
Good job. I think that's correct. Yep, that is
Okay.
the
Good stuff.
fourth place in 2022. All right,
Nice.
Wilmer. See, makes it a little bit more even. I definitely agree with that. Let's make it. How many playoff appearances have the Dash made, Wilmer? 1, 2, or 3 playoffs appearances for the Houston Dash?
I'll go with 2.
2. So he's going with B. The answer is 1. Actually, the
B.
time that they made the playoffs was in 2022. Batman, you're up. Who is the Dynamo's all-time assist leader? Brian Ching, Brad Davis, Albert Elise.
Oh.
I'm gonna go with Davis. B.
Davis, B. That is correct. You got Brad Davis. All right, Wilmer, this one's for you now. What country is Dynamo legend
go.
Dwayne De Rosario from? Canada, Guyana, Jamaica.
The Canadian legend, Dwayne De Rosario is from Canada.
There you go. That's
Canada,
correct.
as
Canada.
Some would say.
All right.
We-
Batman, you're up again. Which Houston Dash player was named MVP of the 2020 Challenge Cup? Jane Campbell, Rachel Daly, Sophie Schmidt.
B. Daly.
Rachel Daly, it's correct. Good job.
Miss
All right,
Daly.
what's the score right now, Chris?
It is 3-2 Batman over Wilmer, and we're going into the fourth PK.
All right. So we
Ooh.
need a perfect score at this point. All right, Wilmer, it's your turn here with what is the longest unbeaten streak in Dash history? 5 games, 10 games, 15 games.
I'm pretty sure that one's a 5-game streak.
And you are correct.
Dang. The knowledge,
Let's
the
go.
Dash knowledge is on point.
It's
Close.
All right, Batman, you're up. Which goalkeeper has made the most appearances for the Dynamo? Steve Clark, Tally Hall, or Pat Onstad?
Ooh, that's hard. That's very hard. No, I'm just kidding. It's the Senor Olmsted.
It is Onstad. And you know, it's actually not that far. Clark got pretty close to that. So it's
He
it
did,
would have been
he
harder if
did.
he would have played this season for sure. All right,
Yes.
Wilmer, you ready?
I hope so.
You need to get this one to stay in the game.
Yeah, there you go. What year did the U.S. national team player DeMarcus Beasley join the Dynamo? Is it 2010, 2014, 2018?
I'll take 2018 for 500.
2018 is incorrect.
Oh,
He got here after
Dang.
the 2014 World Cup. So with that, I guess we have a winner, Chris.
We sure do. Yeah.
nice.
4-3 for Batman.
4-3 for Batman. Batman, go ahead and answer this next question, man. Might as well. Here for it. Batman wins, but here
Let's
I'll
go.
give you this one here. What is the name of the Dash supporter group? Bayou Blaze, Bayou City Republic, Dash Battalion.
I'm gonna go. I feel like it's gonna be Dash Battalion.
Woo, look at you. You would have gotten it incorrect because it is Bayou City
Dang.
Republic.
Uh,
But Batman, you won either way. So you know what? Hey,
Okay.
Wilmer, thank you guys for joining us. This was fun. This was better than it was in the past. So we obviously thank
yeah.
our friends from Elotes Bravos. You guys, I did mention what we were giving away, but I'll get with Batman. Hit our DMs, man. I'll let you know how to get that. Wilmer, do you try to make it to most of the games?
One more time. Sorry, I cut off.
Do you make it to most of the Houston Dynamo games?
I try to. Yeah.
All right. Next time I'll hit you up because if we run into you, man, I'll give you some of our Bayou City swag as well.
Oh,
So
sweet.
and don't worry, this is the first time you made it. You did a really good job. So keep an eye out.
Yeah, you
We'll
did.
try to do this. I would say every 2 weeks. So feel free to join it, man. There's not really a limit. So you are more than welcome to join again and give it another try. We have a lot more things to give away, including obviously the voucher from our friends at Elotes Bravos, where you can get a elote in a cup and an agua fresca at any of the Houston Dynamo and Houston Dash games as well. So, man, thank you guys for joining us. Batman, go take care of Gotham. Get it right, man. What's wrong with
I
that?
will now.
You're slacking, but
I might have. I might have to go play for them. That's what's happening. I have to go play now. I was hoping I'll take over. I was hoping I'll take over as manager, but it looks like they need an extra player down there. I'll be there.
yeah. So, you guys, feel free to stay in the back. Otherwise, you can obviously get off and just listen to the remainder of the podcast on YouTube or X, however you guys listen to it. But one more time, thank you guys for the support. We really appreciate it. Chris, anything else you got to say for this, guys? Did they
No,
surprise you with how good they did?
I mean, I'll be honest. I don't want to sound insulting, but you guys did know most of the stuff. It's pretty good. I mean, some of the things that were kind of hard for me, so I'm not surprised, but it was a surprising thing that some people still, are they have the knowledge of the Dash and the Dynamo. So, shout out to you guys. I don't know if you guys have any final words.
Go Dynamo.
No,
Good
I
Dynamo,
mean,
yeah.
we need a win. That's all I gotta say, man.
Gotta score some more goals. Yeah, that'd be nice.
All right, guys. Well, we'll go back to our regular schedule, I guess, show here. So we'll see you in the back. Peace.
Later, guys.
Thank you again for joining us.
Yes.
All right, Christian. That was actually fun, man. I think the makes it more equal, and because sometimes you put a question out there and people may know the answer, but you only have 10 seconds, and basically anything could be an answer for these questions if you really think about
the
it.
answers are pretty kind of close. They, like, for example, like the assistants ones, like Ellis, Davis. You're like, ooh, who is it? Or Manotas, who got really close to Brian Shane.
Yeah, and then there's recent bias as well, because you're thinking, obviously, like, at least put a bunch of assists, but it's easy to forget some of those historical guys that the Dynamo had. And but no, I'm surprised they did really fantastic, especially with all the Dash questions. I thought they were going to struggle more with those. And
100%.
And that's what we try to do here, right? Obviously, this specific show is a Houston Dynamo 2 show. We do have the Houston Dash podcast being the Orange and Blueprints on Wednesday nights, and a Spanish Houston Dynamo one called Movimiento Naranja on Thursday. So there's more podcasts out there, more content for you guys. But Chris, man, tell the people how they can connect with us, and we'll go there from there, man.
Yeah, of course. BayouCitySoccer.net is the website, guys. Go check it out over there. We're on X, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, and of course the YouTube channel. So go check it out. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. We are on our way to 500 subscribers. We're pretty close. We're less than 20 away. So tell your friends, tell your buddies. If you're listening, also don't forget to subscribe, or just kind of follow the podcast on the podcasting platforms, and then also leave a review if you can. That also helps the show kind of get to more ears and more eyes as well. So go check that out. Don't forget BayouCitySoccer.net. Don't forget to follow We Got Soccer at WeGotSoccer.com, Ugly Guppy at UglyGuppy.com, and Edson, I was reading that, sorry. And Elotes at Elotes Bravos on Instagram. And don't forget, Bayou City Soccer is where Houston soccer lives.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's like, yes, I'm muted. I get it. I'm here. I'm here. I'll just I forgot to mention something to Edson earlier about highlight videos. I think I have them, but Edson, if you can just find the highlight videos for the New York City FC game and the one for Sporting Kansas City, and we'll go from there. But yeah, we'll touch on some of the comments out here. Yeah, one positive before we get started. Anali, man, just being back. I think that's good news. We've been touching on how the team is going to look, how they're going to be able to just field so many of the players that are returning from injuries. Obviously, Anali being one of them, Dwayne Holmes being one of them. Both guys got minutes. In the background, you still have Sviatchenko, which we really haven't heard much from him. And some games you're like, we're doing all right. The team's doing okay defensively. And then some games you're like, what is happening? And we got that in a 4-day span, Chris. Yeah. But let's go ahead and get started with the New York City FC game. Edson, go ahead and play the highlights, man.
Get us underway. And we are underway from Yankee Stadium. Major League Soccer action.
Some of the commentators have been pretty bad.
Fantastic off of dead ball situations.
Edson could definitely do a better job.
Here. The corner is headed down.
I need a phone call from
Odesu with the first
header.
McGlynn will get
good
another
cross.
Driven in and into the back of the net.
It's one of those that you obviously can tell that it's gonna find just a leg, a head, something, and it clearly found. Something that I think we talked about on the chat for us is the fact that the Dynamo have actually had this happen to themselves, right? In the sense of like the errors, whether it be own goals, whether it be mistakes given to the opposition. This one came in Dynamo's favor early on, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like the commentator says, it was a good play by this one by Siegel.
This one, man, you had to finish it. Gabe Siegel. I think when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, what's happening? Obviously, he would shut everyone's mouth later on, getting himself to goals.
Yeah.
But this one, you have to finish.
This would have been a dagger in not his career per se, but just.
I mean, the goalkeeper was fast. He comes out really quick, closes down the area. But Gabe Siegel could easily gone around him too because he had already committed.
I'll be honest. I'm usually the first one to criticize people.
This was going to be a great goal right there by Duenas.
Yeah.
That was going to be a great goal by Duenas. Siegel does a good job of finishing the play.
Yes.
We've seen times, and we spoke about this, players in the past struggle to even get that in frame. I mean, even the greats like Cristiano Ronaldo has a couple like that.
Have you noticed that Escobar is one of the first ones to always get to the player celebrating?
Absolutely.
He's always so happy for them.
Yeah. That was a great strike by Duenas, by the way. And I don't know, it looked like the guy had dislocated his arm at first. Matt Freese. And Siegel was there, man. You need to do that. He was onside. He follows the play and finish it. So you can't really ask more. And obviously, out of respect, he doesn't celebrate being his former team. So the Dynamo are 2-0. 50 minutes in. We had the timer going, didn't we, Chris? We're like, hey, man. 2-0. We've seen this before.
Yeah. And it was a perfect 2-0 situation because you just came from a 2-0 situation where you fumbled the bag. And
you should have learned, right?
Yeah, and this one was okay, did they do the necessary changes to keep a victory and to keep 3 points? And, I guess it worked out. And it also kind of going back to the beginning of the game when we saw the starting lineup, we were like, this is going to be a long night.
Yeah.
And
dude,
something went right.
I love that you mentioned that. Yeah, because when we saw before the game, we all kind of predicted that the Dynamo could possibly lose this match just because of the way that New York City plays, the way that they are just a transition team, right? Something that the Dynamo have been struggling with, a smaller field, all these things. And then you see the starting lineup and you're like, no way. The Dynamo are definitely going to lose 5-0. And I honestly, I should have screenshotted that, Edson, because on the chat, I straight up said, I posted the lineup that New York City FC had, and I wrote underneath that if Ben Olsen wins this game, he wins Coach of the Year. And I got close because he got Coach of the Match day. So
Right?
I think we were all thinking the same thing, man.
Well, I mean, yeah, literally, you going into a difficult stadium with a difficult team, with a secondary team, and you get a 3-0 win. Not only did you get a win, you got a shutout, clean sheet, and you basically not dominate the whole game, but you didn't look bad either. It wasn't that New York City had like really, really good moments, or you could have said, oh no, New York City didn't deserve to lose.
Yeah.
No, the Dynamo did enough to win that game and did enough to win it 3-0. So it was one of those games that you're like, also like, coming from San Jose, like literally the opposite side of the universe. And now you have to go to New York City and, also, a rainy pitch, all the factors were there that if this team would have lost, you would have said, you know what, it's all right. It's 3 points that we can kind of let them go as long as we go back to SKC and we win that. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
And we were joking about the fact that I think I talked about this with David when we recorded on Thursday, since the game had already passed. But we talked about players like Nico Loredo. I mean, it was probably one of his best plays, right? One of his best games with the Dynamo. And 100%. I mentioned about maybe the weather, brought in like vintage memories for Loredo playing in Seattle. I don't know. I mean, yes, he didn't score, but he was just all over the plays. And I believe he played like the whole 90 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. And if not, pretty damn close. And so something we talked about him struggling. It's one thing, right, that we've seen in the past from Nico. Like, he's an older guy. Where do you put him? Obviously, Bassi's been out as well with injury, or I don't know what's really holding him back, but he's been limited in time. So other guys were going to have to step in, and I think Loredo put a pretty good shift that match, Chris.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things that also kind of gives you a little peace of mind to know that he still has some in the tank, right? He still has a little bit of gas left in the tank. And now that the Dynamo go into, I guess they're kind of out of that tough season, or not tough season, but, May was like a really difficult month for them because they had so many games back to back. And now there's a stretch where they can kind of rest and kind of pick that back up. You're going to have Leagues Cup, and then, you're going to have the regular season as well come back. And the competition is going to get, harder in that position. Right, you're gonna have Bassi, you're gonna have Kowalczyk, you're gonna have Holmes, you're gonna have Anali. There's so many guys that could play in those central positions of the field, that knowing that Nico Loredo could also step up and compete, it does kind of bring you some kind of warm fuzzies, just because you know the quality of the guy, right?
Yeah.
And that pushes also the other guys to kind of compete even harder and get better. So hopefully that also, it's like a double-edged sword.
And it's funny because Jeff here talks about how Ben called out about fatigue and complacency. And I do tend to agree in the sense of we were looking at this, right? They played 9 games in May. It's
crazy.
They played obviously a bunch of Wednesday games, and they played a lot of teams that didn't play midweek games. So I think eventually, like a snowball effect, the fatigue eventually catches on, and against, New York City wasn't there because he did 6 different changes, right, to starting lineup. So he played a good amount of different people on that against New York City. And you would say, well, why, don't play them again? But it'd be the same thing. Is like you're trying to freshen up the starting lineup to an extent, and it just wasn't meant to be. But I think the big thing is something that we completely, put in the back of our mind, is the fact that, a lot of the teams that were playing, they were rested. They had 7 days to get ready for the Dynamo, while the Dynamo only had 3 days to get into the match. And for the most part, it's not necessarily a big excuse because they were able to get a result against some of those teams. Yeah. But at the same time, again, I think eventually just catches up. And it was one of those that it finally caught up. But you get into good momentum, obviously beating New York City FC. something that you really don't expect. I mean, obviously, we know that they tend to do good on the road, but again, you get a big game from Ben Olsen, tactically or however you want to see it. Obviously, the goals, you look at them, and are they really a tactical type of goal, a penalty and an own goal to get it started? Not really, but you need to be able to put, those opportunities in front of goal to be able to score them. So it's one of those that Ben gets, awarded the coach of the week, rightly so, just because of the result. Obviously, you get Griffin Dorsey was one. No, sorry, Siegel was in that one. Gabe Siegel for his brace, and no, the other one was Femi. So Femi had a decent game there, but even Ben called him out that yes, he played well, but there he made some silly mistakes as well that we've keep seeing throughout his entire career with the Dynamo. And some days they're able to clean them up, and sometimes they are not. And that's basically what happened against Sporting Kansas City. But Chris, anything else you want to add before we move into the Sporting Kansas City match?
No, just a beautiful, well-rounded 3 points. Obviously, away the points are harder to get. So anything that you can get more than one is just added juice, to whatever. But yeah, going into the next thing, it does give you a thing of confidence, but also, like we said, going into so many games in a row. I don't think it was expected a loss like that against SKC, but let's get into it and then we'll talk about that.
Yeah, and obviously moved the Dynamo up the table for sure. So seeing this Kansas City game, you kind of were expecting for them to get a win. They started out strong. I think within the first 3 minutes, they had quite a good amount of plays like this one in front of goal. Right? I mean, Ponce had that one. I think Ponce had 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Kovalchik had one.
Kovalchik was the other one? They had a header, right, as well? There was 2 headers.
Yeah, I think one was Ponce and the other one's Kovalchik, if I'm not mistaken.
So this one, yeah.
This one.
See, not even a minute in, so after the first one. Yeah, Kovalchik. You're right.
Man, goalkeeper was on point.
Yeah. So it's like, when people tell me that this team is way too defensive, I mean, you look at the stats, and the stats tell you that this team really wanted to win, right? They just their stat. Well, definitely in the second half, but I mean, even in the first half, I mean, you get Kovalchik to get. I mean, that goal was a banger, bro. Like that, the goal they'll show in a little bit here, but I mean, the team was they were hungry, they were pushing up numbers. I will say that Ponce, even with the header he had, he definitely looked like a shell of himself.
Yeah.
But this right here was a fantastic move by Linger. Obviously, Linger plays Kovalchik, and right there I was like, he's gonna hit it.
Yeah.
And sure enough,
you see those goals coming like a mile away. And it's crazy because I think everybody can see it, even the goalkeeper. But you're like, there's nothing
he can do. Yeah. He had not necessarily a very big curl to it, but enough to
go around the goal.
Yeah, enough to go around, and obviously a good amount of power to
Good job
get
by
that
Linger keeping it in play.
Yeah, such a good goal.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
We have been seeing stuff like this from Kovalchik, so it's good for him to get himself a goal. It was one of those that made you like go oof, like what a goal, golazo. Nothing the goalie could do.
No,
Not even if he
really
was
far
7
away.
feet tall, he probably wasn't going to get that. But Kovalchik did a good job, and he did. He was very active, the entire game, and he kept looking for opportunities. That was a very good cross right there that nobody really crashed with. I believe that was Dorsey.
I really like Kovalchik. I mean, the guy, like you said, he's really active. Not only taking shots from outside the box, but he can put those dangerous crosses like that. He is not tame. Like I feel like, for example, we always talk about Bassi. Bassi seems very reserved at times, and like kind of scared to take shots in a way. But you have Kovalchik. He's not scared to take guys one-on-one. Look, he opens up wide real well. He's always a good option, and he's not afraid to take shots. Curl some around because he knows he has the skills to do it. Or he knows that somebody's gonna be in the box whenever you have Ponce in, or that Dorsey's gonna close the door in the second post. So That's a beautiful pass by Ponce.
Yep.
Jesus, that would have been
That
beautiful.
should have been a goal too. There's a lot of opportunities, I'm telling you, in the first half and the second half. But I mean, you leave them in that right there, dude. You have to close him down. Yes, he's a very good striker. Yes, he scored a lot of goals for Galaxy.
Please?
I think he's gonna repeat it, maybe.
Yeah,
No one really pushes.
ball watching. Not only that, but you can also in the goal that they score with the header, the guy jumps in the middle of 5 Dynamo players. You're like, what's going on? And also, like, to give a goal, like, in the dying seconds of the first half, you're like, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody kind of, and his touch was not the best touch either.
No, not at all.
But I feel like, yes, Dorsey was the first one there. I will say that. But I mean, he's a striker. One of the center backs needs to be like on him. Like chicle,
Right there.
just like gum, man, on the wall, dude. You have to be on him.
See, look right there. God. Look at Dorsey yelling at him.
Well, Femi gives him way too much space. No one, dude. It's a DP striker.
Yeah.
Get
100%.
yourself on. Body him. Show him that you're there. Great move here by Dorsey. Unfortunately, he does to score some bangers with his left, but it was just kind of out of balance on that, the way he smacked that. This is the second goal by KC here.
Look at that.
Very good goal. I would say this one was a little bit more difficult. I would say, like, ball watching, it'd be hard to say.
The first hit, the header, the
Yes.
first header.
Yes.
He's like, bro, what are we doing? There's only
Uncontested.
two guys in the
Yeah.
box. Look, there's only 2 guys right there. Everybody else is clearing out.
That was Felipe
beat out-
Andrade and Femi, I believe. Felipe
But if you
Andrade and
look at it,
Femi,
there's
yep.
only 2 other guys against 7 Dynamo players,
Yeah.
and the 2 guys won. Yeah, the other got beat on that one, and then everybody just kind of.
Yeah, I mean, and there's nothing. Jonathan's on the ground, and the ball's already shot before he can even get up. Like,
Yeah.
there's just. I mean, you want that as a striker, right? You want to have a striker like him that don't even think about it, just hit it. And I don't think the Dynamo necessarily have someone like that. Even Ponce takes his sweet time sometimes, and you have to pounce on that. And then Dynamo kept pushing, and this is Nolly here late.
God, that was so good.
And Nolly just brings a different dimension to the game for sure. It's great to see him back.
We got a glimpse of him before
Yeah, good job of.
the injury. It's good to see him back. Just
That was a bad miss.
really disruptive back
Did you see the message by Edson?
What did Edson say? Let me see. Oh, nice. I don't know what happened. Oh, I wonder it's because you're playing the YouTube videos, probably. I may have kicked it off. Sorry. But yeah, just to finish it off, I mean, not the result the Dynamo wanted, obviously, by any means. So you get to the point and you're here, and as I named this episode Coasting on Fumes, that's really what you saw out of them. They're running on empty, and they just, as much as they wanted to score, as much as they wanted to get that 3 points. You mentioned it, Christian. You think that people bring in their families to see the Dynamo, and you hype them up, and they just can't get it done, man. That's the really unfortunate thing for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it really sucked. Just in the sense that I feel like the Dynamo did they did a lot of things to merit maybe a tie or a win. But it was just those lapses of like judgment, or just like men watching, or ball, not marking that just beats you out. It could be I have a hard time with this game because on one hand I completely understand that you're kind of, like you said, you're running on fumes. You're playing so many games. A lot of these guys are like mentally tired or not checked out, but they're just trying to get over this game and just kind of rest in a way, right? And so you have that in your head, but then also at the same time, you're like, bro, we need to win. We need to go. We need to, like, get 3 points. You're at home crowd, this and that. So at the end of the day, it's just kind of one of those things that I want to be like a negative Nancy and just kind of start reprimanding, quote unquote, reprimanding the guys on losing 3-1 to SKC. But also at the same time, you just kind of understand. But then also at the same time, you're like, well, these are the games that you kind of have to prove that you can be above and beyond, this, mental situations where, you're tired, this game at the end of these 90 minutes, it's going to be rest and some time to be with family or whatever it may be, right? At least for a week or so. But get through it and win it. I'm not saying that they were not trying to do that, but I'm just saying that there were so many like mental lapses that you kind of have to stay focused for the 90 minutes and then just try to close the game out in the 90 minutes. Jovic, a great player, so it's not like they were playing against chumps, right? But it's one of those things that you just kind of have to. I don't know. I really, it's kind of hard. It's hard to dictate.
Yeah, and and the unfortunate is that the lineup itself was a strong lineup, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was a bad lineup, but again, if it's tired legs, it's tired legs, and I get it. I understand that they're professionals. That's not a good enough excuse. But if they were retired, then maybe give the opportunity to the guys who played on Wednesday again at that point, or give the opportunity to some other guys that maybe haven't played and could get, a boost in their step just by giving the opportunity of making the bench or being a starter for this game. If you really want to rest some players.
Was Toyosi on the bench?
He was not. He was not at all.
On the bench
no, he got
or the
Anali ended up taking him.
Yeah. It's gonna.
Toyosi was on the bench for the New York one.
Was he?
Yeah,
okay.
he was.
But this is talking about that. This is gonna be interesting to see, like in the upcoming games, how the bench is gonna look like, right?
Right.
Because there's so many guys right now. There was at one point that you had to bring in, guys from Dynamo Dos to kind of fill gaps.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, even Ben would be like, hey, we're just putting this guy because we don't have.
we just need a body.
Players.
We just need to fill
the roster. And now it's gonna come to a point that whenever. If and when when Quinones comes back, you're gonna have Quinones, Anali, Holmes, McGlynn. A lot of people are saying McGlynn might have played his last Dynamo or his last game.
You never know.
Jersey.
You never know.
You never know. Transfer window opens up this week, right? The summer window.
Yeah,
I believe so.
For Europe, yeah, it just opens up soon.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know how. That's a Joey and Dustin question about the whole transfer window stuff. But yeah, you don't know how that's going to be, right? If he's going to go with the national team, if he kills it over there, he gets more eyes. Who knows where he's going to end up? If he's going to get poached by a European team. At this point, I even think Mexican teams will come and poach him.
Anything is possible at this rate.
There's so many.
Is he part Mexican? Maybe Chivas comes looking for a Mexican American.
The great uncle of McGlynn.
The Irish flag and the Mexican flag. They're close, man. They're close.
Right, just substitute a little things and it'll be good. But yeah, the team is getting constructed well. In my opinion, is getting there. But how is it going to be in the bench? So it's one of those things that it's going to be cool to see how Ben Olsen and the staff dictates who's going to play, who's going to be starting 11. There's going to be a lot of drama there, in-house fighting in a way for those starting 11 positions, and then just how the bench will look. So it's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. Just because, even Edson, he's like, do you believe that McGlynn finishes the season with the Dynamo?
Yes, we have.
I want to say that he does, but I think but it all depends because he does have the Gold Cup, and with big players in the U.S. men's national team not going, as you guys probably have been seeing, obviously like Christian Pulisic being one of them, and a bunch of other guys that play in Europe not coming to the game to them. It opens up the opportunity for players like Jake McGlynn, to not just be in the team but actually get meaningful minutes.
Yeah.
And so with that, definitely can give him the viewership to show his talent. He's been playing very good with the Dynamo. How will he play with the U.S. Open national team? I don't know because his roles do tend to change some. I'm sure there's better guys that could play out the wing, and that's even if Pochettino wants to play a similar lineup. I really don't know. Never was want to watch a bunch of the Spurs matches or PSG games when Pochettino was involved, but I don't know exactly. And you guys, I wish we had Dustin or Joey. Which shout out to Joey. I don't know where Joey's at. He never even said he was joining or nothing, but he's probably working.
Drumming away.
Shout out to him. We had to mention that Arsenal didn't win anything, right? We'll give him that. So I saw a really funny clip. I don't know why I just thought about.
Also, not a dig on Joey. We love Joey here, but Arsenal was not the only team, but one of the only few teams in London not to win anything. Yeah. Crystal Palace won, Tottenham won. There was another team that Chelsea won. I'm just saying, if you were to look at London teams, they're probably the worst one.
Yeah, I don't.
But then he would argue that they're the second team on the table. This and that.
This is why I pick like West Ham United, because at least I don't get my hopes up that high. I just keep up with it. I'm like, hey, look at us. They're 13, 14. We're good. We're still in the Premier League. That's all that matters.
Playing, right?
Yeah, Mikael stays winning.
Mikael
stays winning in life, but yeah, no, I think McGlynn. Would you want him long term for the Dynamo? Yes, but I think if you can sell him, and I'm talking about you're gonna not sell him for pennies like you have in the past. So he's a young player, very talented.
Remember his contract is 50-50 with Union. So
correct.
Any penny that comes in, the Dynamo has to give that 50% to the Philadelphia Union.
So you want to sell him for $100 million, so you make some good profit out of that. Sell him to just don't sell him to Saudi. You'll get the money, but you'll ruin poor McGlynn. So you don't want to do that to Jack McGlynn. That's suicide right there. Even Cristiano Ronaldo looks to want to go out of there. But yeah, no, it's good. I think that you see the month of May, you see how many games they play, 9 games, and I say that and express it one more time because the month of June only has 3 games for the Houston Dynamo. Isn't it crazy? You go from 9 games to 3 games.
The Leagues Cup is in July, right?
The Leagues Cup is at the end of July. Yep. Okay. And obviously the Gold Cup, which at this point the only player that the Dynamo will likely lose will be McGlynn. No more Coco Carrasquilla, no more Hector Herrera, a bunch of those guys obviously being out. But the games for the Dynamo are as follows. They'll be playing June 14th, so there's 2 weeks before we see them again. They'll be at Shell Energy Stadium against Montreal, which believe they're the worst team. I don't have the table in front of me, but they're pretty low down there. Then they'll be taking on Minnesota United over there in Allianz Field in Minneapolis. Another Dylan Wolpers derby. Poor guy has celebrated 100 birthdays at this point. And they'll close out their June games on the 28th at Shell Energy Stadium against St. Louis City. So those are the 3 games for the Dynamo. It's not a lot, man, but yeah, as you mentioned, obviously there's still tournaments to come. Very important to get, those opportunities to get into international games, Chris.
This is a good stretch of games. 3 games against teams Edson put on the thing. Montreal has only 8 points, worst team in the Eastern Conference, so it should be on paper it should be 3.
Houston will find a way to lose it at home in front of a good crowd.
So out of these 9 points, I would say the most difficult game should be the Minnesota one away. You already beat them, but they do have a good team. You have to remember they didn't play with their starters. So that could be the one that you have to keep your eye on. If you can get a point out of that, that would be amazing. But out of these possible 9 points, I think the minimum should be 7 points, the maximum being the 9. You have a lot of time to prepare. You have a lot of time to rest. There should be no excuse whatsoever from Ben Olsen from now on.
Yeah, especially
in the month of June.
And like if you lose a Minnesota game, understandable, right? Because it's an away game. But you cannot, with 2 weeks of rest, with pretty much all of your guys here in house, getting the rest, getting the training. There's no excuse for them to lose against Montreal and St. Louis City at home. There's just no excuse.
St. Louis ain't got no coach, so
yeah, exactly. Minnesota, like I said, I understand, but watch them only win at Minnesota at this rate, and lose against Montreal and St. Louis City. So they'll play those 3 games in June, and you mentioned Leagues Cup. There's 5 other games in July before Leagues Cup starts. So in total, 8 games for the Houston Dynamo of MLS regular season play before they take on Tigres, Mazatlan, and Pachuca. Obviously, sadly for Edson, Houston does play Tigres on a Tuesday, so there's no way he's gonna unless someone creates teletransportation in the next 3 weeks, then Edson could probably do it. Otherwise, I see it.
You can just say a family. One of my family members died, and he can just come by for a funeral, and then he can come back home or something like that. We can just make something up.
I was gonna say. Poor Edson, I thought you were going to eliminate one of his family members just for the game. I'm like, dang, man. This got dark.
I was going to, but then I was like, hey, let me not do that. I was like, I'll do one of my family members.
Yeah, right. Yeah, one of my friends. And the only other sad thing I would say is Galaxy actually won a game. They beat Real Salt Lake. So they tied the Houston Dynamo, which the worst losing record, which was the Dynamos. And they needed one more game for them to be the sole holders of that title, and they ended up winning. They got their first win against Real Salt Lake, so even that wasn't in Houston Dynamo's favor. So you could be like, hey man, our record was beaten. There's the worst team out there ever. But that wasn't the case, Chris. That was not the case.
That's crazy because they went from champions to freaking suck, and so it's interesting. But going back to the Dynamo, I think this we're going up from here. I think they're still in a playoff position. If I'm not mistaken.
They're in 9th place with 20 points right now.
It's just wild. I've been telling people this. How forgiving is the MLS that you can go 5-5-7, have a losing record, yet still be in the playoffs, still be, there's still a chance for you to become a champion of this league with more losses than wins.
You get it how you get it, man.
Yeah, I guess so. It's just an interesting thought. You don't see this. You don't see it often, right? You don't see a quote unquote losing team. And it's crazy though, because when you watch all the games from the Dynamo out of the 16 that they've played, you can say like 1, 2, maybe 3 were bad games that you were like, you know what, the Dynamo play like crap. All the other ones, you can say the Dynamo were in the game, at least fought for it and dropped the ball, silly mistakes, this and that. But I think I don't want to be, thinking ahead or being a negative Nancy this early because we're still half of the season left. But I think this is going to be one of the seasons where you look back and you're like, man, if we could have just, kept the tie there or won that game or held on, the pressure for a few more minutes, or we wouldn't have given that ball away inside the box or, whatever it may be. I think it's going to be one of the what if seasons. I don't want it to. I mean, as a fan, as a person that likes the game and loves the team as my team, obviously I don't want that. I want to be in first place at all times, but just the amount of mistakes and errors, hopefully the second half, if they can, kind of complete and do a 180 on it, then it would be a great season. And we're going to be looking back and be like, dang, you remember that season where the first half was crappy and the second half was great? But
a lot of it is just how you end the season, right? When you get hot. And I'm okay with the way that it's going with the Dynamo. We spoke about this very early in the preseason when obviously Hector Herrera wasn't coming back, Steve Clark wasn't coming back. Mikael took us by surprise. Coco Carrasquilla too. And then I think when Hector was gone, people freaked out. And I was like, it was fine. You have the players to beat it. Then, oh, wait, Clark's not here? Wait, Mikael is gone? Coco, like the more you start losing those 4 guys, the more that you're like, okay, yeah, this is gonna be, it's gonna take some time to get everybody up to date, man.
It was a weird beginning because like even then you started losing your goalkeepers. You're like, okay, well we'll give Tarbo a chance.
Yeah.
He's all right, you know, he's not terrible. And then he goes down, and you're like, damn, like there goes our goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And then Mar goes down the next game after that, and then you find a young gem.
And I think you've said this in the past too, that it was maybe a what is it called, a miracle in disguise when it comes to a blessing in disguise with Tarbe going down, because
honestly,
you knew obviously he's a good player, but he wasn't a Steve Clark, and so okay, you're rolling with him, that's fine, but him going down made them go. As you mentioned, Gillingham did a fantastic job. We can't, talk down on the way that he performed. He did really, really good, and who could be at this point still like a dynamo player for the future. And Tarbill could probably, that's it for Tarbill, right? Maybe his career with the Dynamo is over. He is in contract year at this point. Whether they pick its option or not. Jimmy Mora comes in, he gets injured. So it's like, all right, well, we gotta like go look for another goalkeeper. And I think Jonathan Bond, proven MLS goalkeeper. Obviously, the experience is there. He's still a very young player. I think he's 32 years old. Yeah. He can still play, and he's a very good player, and you can see that. And so, yeah, I think that right there just forced you to do a very good upgrade in goalkeepers. Okay, at this point, you really like, hey, I have him and Gillingham in the back. I'm good. Now, the center backs is what's questioned, because what's up with Sviatchenko? Femi, you want to give him the grace, but it gets to the point that, okay, we've seen enough of him. You do need to bring a guy that can compete. They bring Ortiz, and you would think, okay, maybe Ortiz and Sviatchenko. Sviatchenko's injured. Maybe Ortiz and Barlow. Clearly, that's not what's happening. Oh my God. Barlow keeps dropping the opportunity after opportunity. So it's like, well, hell, the one with the highest ceiling that they're seeing right now is Femi. And Femi, it's so, hot and cold. Like, he'll perform very well. He'd be mistake-free. And then sometimes you're like, dude, why are you not going towards the guy? Why are you giving him so much space? Why are you not, showing your physical side and giving him a push, body, something? And it could be the experience. And you mentioned it, and I think there's nothing that we haven't said before that is new, that it's like he's inexperienced, so he's learning in the job. But like, if he doesn't learn on the job, then do you know if he's good? It's kind of like a vicious circle, right? And it just, you're losing. And I mean, we don't even, Joey just like, he loved the guy, and then the more he creates mistakes, Joey keeps giving him his ratings, and but poor Femi is like below 4 most of the time, just because of a lot of the mistakes that he tends to that tend to lead into goals for the opposition and drop points for the Dynamo, man.
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm Nostradamus or whatever, but I think the back four, in my
Christian
opinion,
divination, man. You're kind of close.
I mean, hey, I did say a couple of things and they did come to pass. So I'm not saying I know everything, but I'm just saying that I've watched a lot of soccer, and I'm not the first one or the last one to kind of hit something by pure coincidence. But like, for example, I said the whole McGlynn should be playing higher. And then, we saw 2 weeks later, McGlynn started playing higher. He started playing better, in my opinion, than that deep 8 position that he was in that helped nobody whatsoever. Also, I did say Anali was going to play. Crystal ball. There you go. I did say Anali was going to play. Dustin could have sworn that he wasn't going to touch a single blade of grass.
Well, I don't think he was, but the way that like the result was, I didn't think that they were thinking we're going to be 3-1 down, 2-1 down, I guess, late.
I mean, the way that I saw it, obviously everything mattered because of the result, right? But I mean, Ben wouldn't have mentioned it if he wasn't gonna play. In my opinion,
this is true.
Why would you bring up his name if he's not gonna play? Like, why would you tease the people that Anali's gonna be on the bench but not play him? Yeah. I think the plan was to play him or give him 15-20 minutes. That was the plan from the get-go. And well, the plan just happened to go to shit. And he happens to be a really good player, a good playmaker.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was dangerous in the time that he was around.
But see, I will say though that unfortunately for him, with Sporting Kansas City being up 2-1, it wasn't the game for him anymore. I don't think it was.
Well, maybe
Because
it was because he was creating.
he did
chances.
create. I mean, because he's a very good player.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is like the type of game that we've seen from Anali is more of a counter, and at that point, Kansas City was sitting further back, if that makes sense. So it limited some of the.
disagree.
Okay,
Just in the sense that I don't think he's only a counter player. I think he can be a guy that can break lines. And I think that's what we saw whenever that pass to Ponce that he almost scored with a little flick, a heel flick. Just because Yanali will be the type of guy, unlike the other guy that we had.
His name will not be spoken because he reappeared. The guy lost to Inter Miami, by the way. So
I was watching that. I saw the first half. Messi, a freaking beast, by the way. Just to put it out there. I know it's nothing new, but the guy's tremendous.
You're breaking news here. You're breaking the news here. I know,
breaking news, right? But Anali does get to the line, right? Mm-hmm. He does get to the end line, and he does able to put crosses in. He does take guys 1-on-1. He has the speed. He has the ball control. He has a lot of the qualities that you need for a winger, and that's why I say he's not only a counterattack guy, but he also can break lines. But let me take it back to my crystal ball and to my back four. My back four should be Escobar, Andrade, Ortiz, and Dorsey. That has to be the four back that the Dynamo.
I agree. I think you have to go with right back with Dorsey, left back Andrade, and let Franco Escobar play as a center back. Yeah. That's what I would do, or flip him, or flip him. But I think Escobar had the times that he's played as a center back, he's done well, and it's not new to him. He knows how to play that position.
And he's the captain of the team, bro.
And he's already a fast guy, a fiery guy, and then you put him with another fast guy in Ortiz. No brainer there to me. I agree with that.
He's the conductor of the team. He's the conductor of the team, and you're not that playing left back will change anything because you had Roberto Carlos be captain as a
okay, perfect. We've talked about this captain stuff. Arthur's the captain. He revs the armband. I'm just saying, like we know he is.
Yeah.
But every time that they give the armband to Escobar, I'm like, I love it. I love to see Escobar with that armband. Yeah. It's a different vibe altogether. 100%. Arthur is a great player, and he is a leader of men when it comes to the action. But there's something missing there when it comes to a guy that has to be vocal, a guy that has to be fiery in every play too, and. I mean,
his moments, but
Arthur. But the thing is, Arthur's very good. Like he's very good taking the ball away, but he's not one to just come and just like a wrecking ball. And Escobar has that, and sometimes you need that. And I think that the way that you're talking about that, those four in the back, I agree. And I think that if it continues, I would not be surprised if that's the starting defensive line by the end of the season or getting closer to it.
It should, especially if you don't have Eric in the back. He has to be like those guys should be involved, especially Andrade. Andrade won a position in the starting 11 from the first game. From the first game. That man, he said, I want to play, like, I'm tired of playing in dos. No offense, but I'm a different level. And, like, you could tell, man.
Yeah.
And he earned a spot. I mean, there's guys in the starting 11 that I'm not saying they didn't earn it because they did, obviously, in some way, shape, or form. Being next man up or whatever it may be. But Andrade, in my opinion, is, I'm not going to say, 10 times better than Femi because that's just kind of disrespectful. But I think he's a better soccer player than Femi.
5 times better than Femi?
Yeah, I don't know. You put the number, right? But I think he is a better player and he could do a better job in that position. Just because I've seen him play in dos in that position, and he does kind of change.
And there's 2 weeks. Dynamics. There's 2 weeks of training at this point. Wait, it could be against Montreal, and you see a complete different starting lineup. Movement throughout, and whether that be maybe Zvychenko being back because now you have 2 weeks of more rest that he can get back into that, or Ben just decides to do those movements as you mentioned. Yeah, Dago says Felipe is 10 times better than Femi. I try. I know that, and you guys are probably surprised that I haven't said Bassi sucks this episode, but you know what? There he goes. And I do want to thank all the comments in the Bayou banter. Have to say that too. We love the interaction, and I mean
the chat.
You don't want to, the chat. You don't want to just talk down on players, but I think that when we discuss all this stuff is because we're seeing the game And we're trying to match the stats. And sometimes we know that stats can be, lopsided to what's actually happening to the game, aka Bossy. That's why Bossy sucks comments. But that's the way it goes. I think you have to be honest and critical, and that's a part of what we have to do as obviously media that covers the games, and we ask the questions to the coaches, to the players, as well as coming in here and giving you a reasonable insight. We're not going to be fully on the fringe, the lunatic fringe, on either side of the fence. We try to stay as, but we are going to call it how it is, Chris.
And also to kind of to add more evidence of the case of Andrade should be playing over Femi, is that Andrade has more experience playing in the first team level, in the sense that he played in Brazil. He played in most of his time was played in the second team of Flamengo. But I mean, the second team of Flamengo, it is not Dynamo Dos. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is a good question by Dago. If they're signing 100%. Pablo and Felipe, I think Felipe for sure. I think they're signing Felipe.
Yeah. If you don't sign Felipe Andrade, you're an idiot.
Yeah. You can't let go of Andrade. Like, that's a Mikael type of signing. Like, it's a guy that you bring him in and you're like, oh shoot, this guy's a baller. Yeah. Like, you have to. Pablo, obviously being a little older, seeing if he really, because he's been struggling, obviously, rotating his partners and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you still have to perform individually. And overall, he's been good. He hasn't been bad, but you have to take more things into consideration there. And but I think that if it's me, I'm 100% on Felipe. I'm right now like at a 50-50 for Pablo to get signed on a full contract.
I mean, I think this is the end that, unfortunately for Steres, this is the end for Barlow. I really love Barlow. I really do enjoy Barlow. But his decline, man, it was just peak and then all the way down. And it's so weird because I really thought he had what it takes to become a starter in the MLS. Honestly, I really thought he was going to do great. I really don't know what's going on.
I told you that I see that a lot. I mean, his decline, like even last season, he had a good season. Yeah. But his decline this year has to be with Steve Clark gone, because whenever they played together, it was like he followed anything that Steve Clark said, basically, and that helped him. And I feel like he's lacking that. And obviously, you look at those lineups. Some of those guys, they don't speak the same language as well, and that's something too that you have to take into consideration. But no, it's sad because you're right about downstairs. He's probably gone this year. And Ethan Barlow, he may be on his last stretch as well. You're right.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're gonna have Pablo Ortiz, Eric, it's so weird though, because he just got his contract extended, but you're like, can this man be healthy? You know what I mean? He has more games out than he has in, and you're like, man, you're getting paid. I'm sure he's one of the highest paid in the team, so to have one of the guys that is getting paid a good amount of money not playing, you're like, bro, like, chill with the coffee and get with the soccer. I know it's not it's not he's not it himself.
And Eric what's it called has this season in 2026 for sure. Yeah. And then if he doesn't get back into it and it's the starter through and through, then his contract, as soon as his contract's done, I don't unfortunately see him resigning. And we know that that guy is definitely a leader of men. That guy, it's vocal. That guy does a great job organizing not just the defensive side of the team, but the entire team. Yeah. And so there's a lot of questions, and we'll have plenty of time to hit on them next week. Since we won't have any games, we'll have to figure out exactly what we're going to talk about.
Mid-season report card, man.
At this point,
we're kind of doing that right now, but
we're gonna have
Joey,
to. We're gonna
Dustin,
have to.
We can do a little roundtable.
This be part 2, I guess, next week of that. So, Chris, man, if you can tell the people how they can connect with us, man.
Yes, sir. BayouCitySoccer.net. It is the website where Houston Soccer lives. So go check that out. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, and our YouTube channel. That's where we're going to be at Bayou City Soccer on all those platforms. Don't forget to follow We Got Soccer at WeGotSoccer.com. Don't forget to follow also Ugly Guppy at UglyGuppy.com and Elotes Bravos at Elotes Bravos on Instagram. Support your local teams in the USL too as well. Dustin has been doing a great job covering those guys. There's more stuff to come, so go check that out right now on the page, BayouCitySoccer.net. And also support your semi-local regional Red Crowns. So why not? But yeah, everything, guys, at BayouCitySoccer.net, where Houston soccer lives.
I love it. And to finish off, Dynamo 2 are playing this weekend. Their game got moved to Shell Energy Stadium on the 7th. That's Saturday. I think it got moved actually time-wise too. I think it's at 7 p.m. on Saturday. I will do my best to be there. I hope that everybody can make it out there. You get free tickets on SeatGeek. So, if you want to take your whole family of 100 people for free, why not? I know Chris.
Tour of the stadium.
Chris, big family. I mean, I have a big family too. But yeah, this is a game to take your people. So, if you see me there, because Chris, you're not gonna be there, right? You're out of town.
Yeah. No,
you're in Dallas. No, you were in Dallas. You were in Dallas.
I'm gonna be here, but I'm gonna be attending to other things.
That's fine. So if you see me, I'll make sure to take maybe some stickers and stuff to give away to you guys. I know other guys from Bayou City Soccer will likely be there, like Diego, who you guys may remember, or at least you do remember if you watch Orange and Blueprints. But we'll have people covering the game. So go out there, make it to those games. It should be a good game there. Sporting in Kansas City 2 against Houston Dynamo 2, the future stars.
Also, a good win against Austin in Austin the other day.
Yes, and penalties.
A penalty win. Pedro Cruz. Bro, that kid
he's a beast.
Can goalkeep. It is sad that we have Bond and Bellingham. No, Bellingham is not. Gillingham. I was changing his name already. But I think we already have the goal covered in the Houston Dynamo, but Pedro Cruz, it is a great contender for a starting spot. And I'm saying starting spot, maybe not starting, but secondary spot with Gillingham for the goalkeeper role. The kid is out of this world. You can tell his level is higher than Dynamo 2. And I don't know, hopefully he'll get a break soon. I don't know how, when, or where.
Yeah.
But he has to be around, either kept to participate in the team somewhere, somehow, someplace, or, also kind of being flipped for a little bit of cash here and there.
Yeah, and it's funny because if you guys keep up with Dynamo 2, or if you're ever interested, man, I would definitely recommend that you guys go check out their games. Marcelo Santos, though, has obviously he has a good team, but he rotates his guys a lot. So it's hard to keep up with the lineup, I would say, especially one that has to write it, because it's always changing, it's always evolving. Players that you would see a lot, like maybe Di Morelli, he's lately been relegated to the bench as of late. Even X and Arsu sometimes is on the bench. So he just plays a lot of people. And we've talked with Marcelo enough, and we may get them this week. But if you ever listen to a coach, I was going to say a good coach. There's plenty of good coaches out there, but a good developmental coach, he's the guy you want to talk to because he says it how it is. And I think to this day, my favorite quote is when he was saying about if guys start getting complacent in MLS Next Pro, then he knows for sure they're not going to make it pros. So it just makes you think. It's very like hardcore, his way of thinking. And
by fire.
We all see it, but not a lot of people actually say it. So with that being said, Edson, thank you again for running the boards, man. I know they asked about the Red Crowns, and you answered it. Yep, the Red Crowns are currently in the Leagues of Clubs semi-pro game. Edson, get in here real fast. When's the next game for that? Is it during this FIFA World Cup? I mean, FIFA International break, sorry. Is there any game?
Yes, so the next home game is not until the 21st, but they are playing on the road this weekend against Central Texas Coyotes.
Okay, there you go. And you'll set they're streaming that as well, I'm assuming, right?
I believe so. Not all the teams right now have had streams. I know there is a team in the Texas Conference that isn't running with the National Soccer Network.
Sure.
But I'll double check with Central Texas. But I believe they do have a stream on NSN.
If you have that link, send it to us, or we'll retweet it on the Bayou City Soccer Instagram and Twitter page, so people can catch it, man. So
sure, and obviously I want to invite y'all to everybody that's listening out there in Houston. Be sure to check out this last Saturday's broadcast. I know we were having issues with internet as far as the video is concerned, being jumpy, especially in the first half. Second half was a little bit smoother, but Jacob and I are open, to your thoughts, to your suggestions as to how we're doing so far. Like I said, Jacob's been doing this for 6 years. As far as for color, it's my first time doing it officially. So I'm open to suggestions on how I can improve my craft as well.
And I was gonna, you guys to finish off, you guys have the Down in the Valley podcast that people can follow.
Yes. So tomorrow we're going to be going live. So we have two things going on tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be Jacob's going to be recording an interview with the RGV Red Crowns' first signing, which is Vicente Alvarez from McAllen, Texas. We're going to be recording that during the day. Probably have that uploaded either Wednesday or Thursday. And we're also going live for about an hour on tomorrow afternoon around 6:30 to kind of give our thoughts on the San Antonio game from last Saturday. Jacob and I will be doing that. We had been wanting to do a post game, but like I said, with the issues we were having, I thought it would be better just save it until Tuesday. But yeah, so the invitation is out there, guys, to all of our the fans here to go ahead and check us out as well.
Absolutely, man. You know that we love talking Red Crowns and soccer and RGB, since there's so much ties here in Houston and obviously there in Mexico and all that good stuff. All right, let's finish it off with, what is Dago talking about? Anybody know? Chris, can you decipher this?
Oop.
You're more into
I literally was reading that and I was like, what does he mean?
So I'm assuming a fraud watch, if I recall correctly, is basically like saying who's the worst player that you've seen. So got like a huge shout out for the worst Dynamo player.
Gotcha.
Something's wrong.
Dang, Dago.
But somebody
that goes cold.
Who's yours?
That goes
Dago?
cold.
Might as well drop it on the chat.
Dago,
Who's your fraud watch? I got a couple, but I'm afraid to say them out loud.
Nah, we'll leave it for next episode, since we already went a little over. Yeah. But thanks again for joining us, Edson. Again, Thank you again. Sorry I had to put you on the spot. I kind of downloaded one of the highlights and then I remember the other one I have. So if YouTube kicked us out for a little bit, we'll live, man. We'll live. So
yeah, I think what's probably gonna happen is just that part's gonna be not be playing in the VOD, but that's about it.
Dago that's the only right answer, bro. That's the only right answer right now. He's he plays for the other team sometimes, I feel like.
I didn't say nothing.
I didn't even say who it was. I just said it was the right answer. If y'all see it on the stream, then that's on you. But thanks again, Chris. I'll give you a solid 10.5 out of 10.
Thank you.
And we'll see ya next week, man.
Have a good one.
Peace. Guys. We'll see ya.